Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2019 comedy film Long Shot, a film that is directed by Jonathan Levine, who has directed Seth Rogen previously in films like 50-50 and The Night Before. And this film stars obviously Seth Rogen, and we have Charlize Theron. And this is like a political comedy. Now, straight off the bat, I'm a huge fan of Seth Rogen. There's very few things that Seth Rogen puts out that I'm not interested in watching. I think he's a hugely talented comedy performer, writer, and even director. And he has had his hand in almost every great comedy over the last 10 or 15 years, Seth Rogen. Hugely talented, and I'm always interested in any comedy that he puts on screen. And like I said, this is like a political comedy that focuses on Charlize Theron's character, Charlotte Field, who is the Secretary of State in the US, and she has aspirations to become the first female president. And she's told by the current president, played by Bob Odenkirk, really well, that he's not running for office again. He's an ex-actor who wants to get into movies, so he's going to resign his presidency. He's not going to go for his second term. And she wants him to endorse her for the next president, and he's quite happy to do that as long as she kind of plays ball. So she's like, right, I've got to really, get the public behind me here. And she's got like this environmental act that she wants to push forward that'll make it'll do the planet some good, and it'll get her a lot of attention. But she's short on writers who can give her really, really impactful speeches. In walks Seth Rogen, who is a journalist, a hard-hitting journalist, uncompromising journalist, who loses his job, resigns, and is at a bit of a loose end. And he knows Charlotte Field. She was his babysitter when he was 12 years old. They meet at like a party. It makes a big impression, and she starts reading his work, and she decides she wants him on board as one of her speechwriters. So he gets on board as part of the team, doesn't fit in, walks around in shell suits. However, his speechwriting is bloody great. But lo and behold, sparks begin to fly between Charlotte Field and Fred, Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron's characters. So that's kind of the story here. Now, interestingly, this is kind of like Pretty Woman in reverse. Obviously in Pretty Woman you had Julia Roberts and Richard Gere, and it's the roles are kind of reversed this time. Charlize Theron's in the position of power, and Seth Rogen is not. He's the oddball here. He's the one who doesn't stand out in a crowd, who they happen to fall in love. Now, the very core of this film, what makes this film work, I've seen some really, really interesting and glowing reviews for this film, which would really please me. I'm always happy to see Seth Rogen get good reviews. But what really works for this film is its writing. These two characters are written really, really well. It shouldn't work on screen. Charlize Theron, Seth Rogen as a romantic couple, it shouldn't work, and all the promotional stuff that we're seeing is suggesting that. Implausible but not impossible is a lot of the promotional stuff that you see on posters and stuff. But it really does work. This chemistry between these two is brilliant, and I've been watching quite a lot of interviews they've been doing to promote this film, and you can see they really get on, and they must have had a lot of fun making this film. The chemistry between them is bang on, and I almost believed that this romance was genuine watching this film. I was 80% there. I thought the chemistry worked really, really well, and I believed them as a couple. I felt they kind of rushed it a bit. I don't feel as though the love blossom naturally. Almost felt a little bit forced at one point, but once the relationship was kind of established, you were kind of like threatening to be established, you were kind of like on board with it. So it was a lot of fun, this film, and surprisingly not all of the fun was from Seth Rogen, who's very, very funny. I mean, there's a scene at the beginning where he goes undercover in like a neo-Nazi group that is just hilarious. The whole thing's fantastically funny. And he's on form throughout this whole film, Seth Rogen. His one-liners, his classic laugh, all that kind of stuff. And his vulnerability as his character as well, he's done really well. But Charlize Theron absolutely shines as well as a comedy actress here. Some of her stuff is just brilliant. There's one scene where she's trying to negotiate with terrorists, basically, but she's completely off her head. That was just fantastically fun to watch. It was great. So a really, really top-notch comedy here, I have to say. Loads and loads of fun. I laughed a lot of times watching this. It was really well made, really well written, and the two leads did a brilliant job of convincing me. So yeah, I do recommend Long Shot. It's a really fun comedy, really well made, and I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. So it's definitely worth a watch if you need cheering up. So thank you for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time on Screen Stars.